Voices from the Void Chapter 3, Across the Divide. Lena awoke to the sound of birds chirping outside her window, their melodies a stark contrast to the chaotic events of the previous night. She sat up slowly, every muscle in her body protesting from exhaustion. The transmitter sat on her desk, now silent and dormant, its crystals no longer glowing. As she stretched, Lena's mind raced with thoughts of what lay ahead. She had succeeded in building the device and establishing a connection with Dr. Mercer, but she knew their journey had just begun. "Good morning," Dr. Mercer's voice greeted her, clear and calm. "How are you feeling?" "A bit tired, but I'm ready," she replied, swinging her legs over the side of the bed. "What's our next step?" "We need to stabilize the rift further and begin preparations for the actual crossing between dimensions," Dr. Mercer explained. "But first, you need to gather more information about the structure of the rift in your world. There are locations where the veil between our dimensions is thin. You must find them." Lena grabbed her sketchbook and began taking notes. "How do I find these locations?" "There's an old book, a rare text that describes the locations where the dimensional fabric is weakest. It's called the Codex of Realms. You'll need to locate a copy." Lena's heart sank. Where do I even start looking for something like that? There's a man named Henry Whitaker, an antiquarian who specializes in rare books and occult artifacts. He owns a shop downtown called Mystic Tomes. He might have a copy or at least know where to find one. Lena quickly got dressed and headed out, her mind buzzing with anticipation. The sun was shining brightly, casting a warm glow over the city. She felt a sense of urgency driving her forward, the stakes of her mission never far from her thoughts. The shop was easy to find. Tucked away in a narrow alley, Mystic Tomes had an old-world charm that made it stand out. The sign above the door was faded, the letters barely legible. Lena pushed open the door, a bell tinkling softly as she entered. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of aged paper and incense. Shelves lined the walls, crammed with books of all shapes and sizes. Artifacts and curiosities filled every available space, creating a labyrinth of knowledge and mystery. "Can I help you?" A voice called from behind a tall stack of books. Lena turned to see an older man with silver hair and sharp blue eyes. He wore a vest over a crisp white shirt, and his hands were stained with ink. "Yes, I'm looking for a book called the Codex of Realms. Do you have a copy?" Henry Whitaker's eyes widened slightly. "The Codex of Realms? That's a very rare and dangerous text. What do you need it for?" Lena hesitated, unsure of how much to reveal. "I'm researching unusual phenomena. I've been told this book could help." Henry studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Wait here." He disappeared into the back of the shop, leaving Lena to wander among the shelves. She ran her fingers along the spines of the books, their titles a mix of the mundane and the arcane. Minutes later, Henry returned, carrying a large, leather-bound book with intricate designs etched into its cover. "This is the Codex of Realms," he said, placing it gently on the counter. "It's not for sale, but you can study it here." Lena's heart leapt with excitement. "Thank you. This means a lot to me." Henry nodded. "Be careful. The knowledge within these pages is powerful and can be dangerous if misused." Lena spent the rest of the day poring over the book's contents. The codex was filled with detailed maps, arcane symbols, and descriptions of places where the boundaries between dimensions were thin. She copied everything she could into her sketchbook, her mind racing with possibilities. As she worked, she felt Dr. Mercer's presence, guiding her understanding. "These locations are crucial, Lena. We need to visit them to stabilize the rift further." By the time she left the shop, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the streets. Lena felt a sense of accomplishment but also a growing apprehension. The path ahead was fraught with unknown dangers, but she knew she couldn't turn back now. That night, Lena lay in bed, the maps and symbols from the codex swirling in her mind. She knew that tomorrow would mark the beginning of a new phase in her journey. With Dr. Mercer's guidance, she would explore these locations and unlock the secrets they held. Get some rest, Dr. Mercer's voice whispered in her mind. We have much work to do. Lena closed her eyes, exhaustion overtaking her. As she drifted off to sleep, she felt a strange sense of peace. She was no longer alone in her quest. Together, she and Dr. Mercer would face whatever challenges lay ahead, their fates intertwined by the mysterious forces that connected their worlds. Tomorrow, they would take their first step across the divide, and Lena was ready to embrace whatever came next.